do our enemies have such an easy time? Because their slogans are very short. Free Palestine. Nobody knows what it is. Nobody knows what it means, but it's free Palestine, right? Where for us, ask a Jewish studies professor where the Jews come from. You're going to get a 45-minute lecture, right? And would he or she will actually say where the Jews come from? No, it's too complicated, right? So we uncomplicate it for them. We say very clearly, Jews are from Judea, right? Let's stop being so complicated. It's not that difficult. You know, our educational establishment, they love talking about nuance and shade of gray and complexity. Great. But here's the thing, before you start talking about shades of gray, what you need to understand is you need to have the anchors. You need to first identify what is white, what is black. Okay, you know white and black. Now we can be talking about shades of gray. If all you're doing is talking about shades of gray, how complex it is, you're confusing them. You're confusing the kids. And if you're starting these conversations when they're in college, that is a burden. And that's not fair. Why do our kids, I don't know of any other people whose parents are now viewing colleges and touring colleges with the lens of how bad is it for my ethnic minority child, right? I have Filipino friends. I have friends from all over the place. I worked as a nurse for 17 years. I promise you, I have a very diverse group of people. I don't know any of them who are viewing the colleges through the lens of how bad is it for my people. And we need to turn it around and make it, this is a privilege for you to speak up on behalf of the Jewish people. That's an honor, that's a privilege, because there are so few of us. Your voice matters. What you say to your roommate will change that roommate's life if you know how to say it and what to say, right? But if we're sending our kids and we're like, okay, well, you know what? You're Jewish, so stand up for Israel. Put up an Israeli flag on your wall, and yeah, good luck. What is that? What kind of parents are these? That's not fair. So what do? Club Z starts with teenagers. 8th grade, they're celebrated their bar bat mitzvah, hooray. And usually this is when the Jewish education kind of like takes the dive, right? Let's keep that going. Club Z is a marriage between a serious academic education, right? The kids get, in a year, they get about 60 hours of academic lectures and seminars and workshops. And it is fun. It's like a BBYO mirroring Right On for Israel, if you will, right? And they produce Club Z. So we have a lot of social interaction, a lot of hanging out, but it's a very serious program. Why do we do that? I'll give you just one example. And today is Thursday, so it resolved yesterday. So in December, one of our students, she's an 11th grader, she called me and she said, Masha, today our history teacher covered World War II, and she mentioned, and I quote, Kristallnacht was a battle in Germany that prompted American forces to get involved in World War II. Okay, this is a history teacher. You have to understand, right? Okay. So our little Michal, you have to understand, this is a young lady who is, she's a force, but you would never know, right? She's tiny, she's short, she speaks, so she took her to task, and the teacher said, okay, fine, next period, we'll talk about the Holocaust. So next period, she spent 2 minutes talking about Holocaust. She basically compared it to Japanese internment camps in the United States. That was the comparison. So Michal would not let it go. And the teacher said, fine, the first lesson back from winter break, I will give you half of the period. you can do your own presentation. So we had worked with Michal. Yesterday, she gave that presentation. Before she gave the presentation to the class, the teacher wanted to see it. And when Michal finished the presentation, she called us. She said the teacher was crying. What do you mean, Michal? The teacher had no idea about the Holocaust. She didn't know. She thought Holocaust was one camp, one time, and that was it. So now Michal has educated this teacher. Now she has educated 30 more kids in her class, and the teacher now has asked for her PowerPoint because she will adapt and she will teach it, right? Now, I have to tell you, what we don't do is we don't do Holocaust education. That's the funny part. But what we do is critical thinking skills and lots and lots of confidence building so that they can raise their hand and say, what you said is incorrect. What you said is factually wrong. Or they could write an email. But in any case, holding the adults accountable. That is the most important part, I think, that we need to do.